because it wasn't part of the main hospital complex at that time. All these courses, they were using here to do initiation on Uniport. And then people were just using here as their own laboratory. They were coming here to stool and mess up the place. Actually, my name is Professor Ojule. I was recruited as a member of staff of this hospital in 1986. In fact, as a medical officer. In fact, the first medical officer to be recruited purposely to run the accident and emergency department. They called us casualty officers at that time. I think I was the first person to be so recruited. And, I worked in that capacity, managing the accident and emergency department at that time. Subsequently, more medical officers were recruited to join us in the accident and emergency department. Because what was happening at that time was that there were no permanent doctors that were working in the casualty. At that time, departments were contributing staff, some from surgery, ONG, internal medicine, pediatrics. That is how the accident and emergency department was run at that time at the temporary site. Until when we came on board, then the proper accident and emergency department started being built. So, and I did that work in A&E for about 2 years until about 1988. I had to go for residency training. And I think I might also, if my thinking is right, the first person to be trained as a supernumerary resident completely by this hospital in 1988, and I did that until I came back to UPTH in 1993 after completing my residency training at the University College Hospital. Then I came back to the hospital, and because I had been trained as a chemical pathologist, I had to be taken to the chemical pathology department, so I no longer went back to the accident and emergency department. And there we started work, building up the pathology department. At that time, we didn't have as many staff as we had. Periods where we didn't have people in the different departments, that I had to serve as the head of chemical pathology, head of hematology at the same time. And at some point in time, because of lack of staff, I think I even oversaw medical microbiology for a short while. So I'll just give you a background that the hospital has come from very small beginnings to where we are. I think by the time we left the temporary site in 2005 to come over to the permanent site, we were just the temporary site, we just had 250 beds thereabout at the temporary site at the former General Hospital, Port Harcourt. And it came to 250 beds because Dr. Long John, who was the pioneer CMD at that time, did a lot of development and increased the bed capacity tremendously to get to that level. Actually, I think the first chief medical director was also Moforimo. He moved the hospital from Emoha to the General Hospital, but shortly after, when there was this MOU between the River State government and the University of Port Harcourt and the teaching hospital. As soon as we moved over, then Professor Dr. Long John was appointed as the chief medical director at that time. So Professor Moforimo had his tenure was not that long. From that 1993, I think about 1994, I was appointed Deputy Chairman Medical Advisory Committee, and specifically to take charge of clinical activities at this permanent site, because we had only very few departments that had come over here. AIE was opened, and then ophthalmology, I think ophthalmology had come here. And initially, we just had admin officers, administrators, like Mrs. Ojule. Ojule was looking after these clinical departments, running some clinics and all that. So it's been a long story. So I've been here seeing to the development of all this infrastructure. Where we are now was not developed. In fact, sorry to use the word, it was abandoned in that by 1984. It was a carcass, it wasn't roofed. We just had block wall. And because it wasn't part of the main hospital complex at that time. All these courses they were using here to do initiation from Uniport. And then people were just using here as their own laboratory. They were coming here to stool and mess up the place. That is how we found, especially where we are now. So it's been a very long journey. The hospital has grown in leaps and bounds. And I'm sure as we speak, in terms of infrastructure, I think the old shell of the hospital, the core buildings of the hospital, have been completed. When we commissioned the hospital in 2005, they were not completed. Some of the wall blocks were not completed. Some of these, like this cafeteria block, they were not completed. So gradually, they've been completed. Current CMD is doing a lot of work to also complete the uncompleted structures and even plan newer structures in the hospital. Well, the dream is still there, because what we are still talking about now is phase one. This is phase one development. There is a phase two development, which should have taken care of the training schools, and then there's a phase three development, which should have taken care of, or should take care of, the residential areas. You know, we have enough, plenty of land. So some of us are emotionally and sentimentally attached to this hospital. And, our dream for this hospital has always been that it should be the best that it can be. That's our dream for this hospital. We are getting there gradually. We are not yet there. With the support of all staff, the support of management, the support of government, we should be able to get there to make UPTH the place of first choice, preferred choice for anybody who is ill around this Niger Delta area. That's our dream. So on that note, somebody who has was born and has become 45 years, yes, 45 years, you are a full man. You are no longer a baby. And looking back, I think we have done very well. It's been progressive development. And so on that note, on that score, I want to congratulate everybody. The staff, the management, the government, River State government, and federal government, everybody that has been supportive of the growth and development of this hospital. On that note, I want to congratulate all of us for what has been achieved. I will pray that those coming behind us will even do much better than us and take UPTH to the highest heights. Thank you very much.